We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things. Not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills.
And welcome back, everyone, to a Let's Play series with Bamboozler in Kerbal Space Program 2. And we're now in Episode 2. Just a quick recap. Episode 1, we launched our first spacecraft. It was amazing. It didn't go anywhere. I couldn't control it, but Jebediah survived. We also launched 2 other spacecraft for some science. And we also eventually reached space, which was a great milestone for us, which is why we now have a total of 98 science to spend for our next couple of missions. So let's look at some of the missions that we can probably do first. And I think what we do want to start doing, or at least work towards, is to orbit Kerbin. I think that's our next major milestone. And I think this time, as great as Jebediah is, let's give him a little break. Let's get his lovely wife/girlfriend. I don't know what they are. They never tell me these kinds of things, but I know they're together. Valentina, a chance to fly some ships. So we definitely want to do some orbit Kerbin stuff. So let's just go ahead and accept that, because we are able to accept 2 missions still. And I think in a previous episode we talked about testing the Mk16 parachute flight over Kerbin within its parameters of 10,000 meters, or between 10,000 and 13,000 meters in the sky at a specific speed, which I think is doable, and I think the return value for this is pretty high. Which also brings it to another point. I thought about it. In episode 1 we kept talking about currency, money. We never really gave it a name. I looked online, and the community have 3 different names for the currency, and the one I like most is Spaceos. So that's what we're gonna go with. They're called Spaceos from now on. 28,000 Spaceos, which is quite a bit for completion, and an advance of 11,000, which would bring us to quite a high amount here as well. So we're gonna go ahead and accept that one. Go back to our our lovely little space center. And because we wanna start to orbit Kerbin, I do think that we need to upgrade our VAB, or VAB, or Vehicle Assembly Building, and I figured out how to do that. All you have to do is right-click, which is great, because it means that we get more than 30 parts supported. Although it is super expensive, we're gonna wait on that just momentarily and see if we can get any other specific sciences that might help us here. I like this. It's a little probe. Stiputnik, we got some batteries, we got some more science with the Science Junior, and I really like this one, the Experiment Storage Unit. I know when I played the Kerbal Space Program the first time, what was it, 10 years ago? I used this a lot to store the sciences that we were completing, and then resetting a lot of the science experiments as well with the scientists. And obviously, yeah, we'll get more antennas and stuff like that. So definitely let's get this one. It's 45 science, we got 53 left. See what we got in terms of flight control. We've got this McJab 2 thing. We've got some more wings. A re-entry module. That sounds great. Do we want some stability stuff? I do think that we do want to get these radial decouplers. I think they're going to be very handy if it comes to going into orbit around Kerbin. So let's get that one as well, which leaves us with 35. So is there anything else that we can get from this? Because I think this is all 45. It's all 45. Okay. So what we could do is we could just go for a science mission, just a quick one, just to collect some more science, since we do have some new science modules to take with us. For example, the the beautiful Science Junior. We want to take this one with us. So let's put that one in there, and let's not forget a Mk16 parachute. So we'll probably do the test for that to get the mission at least completed with the testing of the parachute. And we want to take a bunch of different science with us. So again, we'll take 2 of these ones, just in case we need 2. I'll just actually place them like this. I like to do this manually. Because then it looks nice, and we want our spaceships to look nice. Oh yeah, remember, we can do things like this, which is kind of neat. We can kind of come up with a system about, that we always work bottom up on these things. Now we're going to take some temperature gauges, because they're quite finicky, I'm going to put them here on the side. So again, we'll take 2 of those. My goodness, this does not look great at all. I should probably... Are they attached properly? Let's try it again. Nope, going wrong again. Alright, let's put them right here in the middle so they're a bit more symmetrical. And we'll definitely take some of these pressure readings as well. So again, I think with these ones we'll take 3 because we can take some... And we'll do the same with the thermometers, to be honest, because we can't take a scientist with us, so we can't reset these things. At least we don't want to take a scientist yet because we only have a 1 module piece, and we don't really have a something that we can control the spaceship remotely with, and then the scientist. It's just all a bit too much right now. We'll take a heat shield just in case we go too high, because you never know. And for the rest, I think that's the science complete. So let's make sure that we get the coupling in for the rocket. And because we're actually not going that far, because I think we're just going for a quick science trip. But let's see if we can land elsewhere. We'll do this. We'll do 1 engine with the swivel, so that we can control it a little bit. It's a small plane. We're not going to go very far. We're just going to collect some signs, and hopefully we'll get 45 signs, which allows us to unlock 1 other item, and then we can see if we can build a spacecraft that will help us. Now, obviously, the big first milestone that we're going for is going into orbit. So we're still naming our ship the Orbiter, and I believe now we are at number 4. That's how we do 4. Yes. And I think we're ready to go. No, we're not ready to go. Let's give it some pizzazz. Come on. Let's give it some cool wings. And let's see if there's any color that tickles my fancy. I like this one. It's kind of cool. Kind of, I don't know, streamline with the grooves. So in this, for this particular flight, we're gonna sub out Jebediah. He's gonna go home, play some video games, and Valentina is gonna go in. So kiss Jebediah goodbye, Valentina, and not for real. We're gonna try and keep you alive, obviously. This is not the Widowmaker. We are not the Jebediah. I don't know. What do you call? I don't know. What do you call when a... So, if the husband dies, it's a widow. So what do you call if the wife dies? What does the husband then become? I don't know. Help me out with that one. Send me a message or leave it in the comments. I don't know. Anyways, so we've got this spaceship, Orbiter 4. We're going to go collect some science. So let's launch this with Valentina. And this is great because this is going to be Valentina's very first mission. So again, another milestone for all Kerbinauts. The first woman to go into a spaceship and dare go beyond all the beyondness of science and all the other crazy Kerbal stuff. We do want the orbit info just because, yeah, not that I don't think that it's really going to matter in this one, but I just do want to make sure that we have this one set. So, so last time we went into the water, so we got a bunch of different signs from the water, and it seems safe. It's drinkable as well. We tested that as well in the last episode. Now, however, we're going to go into the wilderness, and we're going to see if this is an okay place to live on and see what's out there. Maybe we'll discover things that we never knew existed. So let's get going. Let's put on the SAS. That doesn't mean put on the cool stuff, but that means toggle the SAS. I don't know what SAS stands for, but I know it gives me control, so it's all good. And we are ready for another launch. So let's go. And we're gonna go this way. We're just gonna throttle down a little bit just so that we don't overcook our ship. Last time we lost complete control of our spaceship. We don't want to do that this time. And actually, while we're in the air, let's just take a quick read of the atmospheric. Nope, there's nothing there to grab, and let's just take a quick check to see if there's some temperature science for us to get. And look at that flight. It is amazing. What are those patterns down there? What is all of this stuff over here? Are they supposed to be like cities? Like where other Kerbals live? Like this being the Kerbal Riviera? What is all of this stuff? It looks like civilization. The patterns do not look like nature. I have not seen this before. And they are spread out. So hopefully we don't kill anybody, because that would be awful. I'm gonna go into a little retrograde here. We're gonna take one goo sample up here just to see if there's any science for us to get. Yep, just a tiny bit of science. And then we forgot about the actual mission of testing the parachute. But we've got all the parameters except for the height. Well, we never really took a lot of stuff with us. So this looks like ancient civilization ruins. Actually, this does not look like these are cities, but they're ancient civilization ruins. Like where the Kerbal dinosaurs might have had a civilization, or they're just farmlands. Just go with the farmlands thing. It's good. Coming down. Just gonna take another temperature read to see if there's something here. So now we've got temperature over grassland, so we know that. And we had temperature flying over Kerbin shores. So that's good to know that we can get a lot of science with the temperature, because the temperatures have different parameters depending on where we're flying over, which would make sense because every biome would have a different kind of weather sort, right? So that's really good. This time, however, we are traveling pretty fast. I mean, I know it looks really slow from your angle, but if I'm looking at the meters per second that we're going, it's about 7. I find that quite a bit. I don't want anything to break, at least not my science experiments, so it would be a waste of space hose. Yes, space hose. So we're gonna jettison the heat shield, which apparently brought with it large explosives. So good thing that we got rid of that. Oh, and there we go. The science did explode, unfortunately. So that's not good. No bueno. Space hose lost. But regardless, it's not all lost, because we're still going to get some science from a crew report, and we're also going to get Valentina to basically walk out and let go and see what exactly happened, just to take a little bit of a scan about, you know, the damages of the basically give us a space hose report on the damages caused by this particular landing. So it was a good thing that I got rid of the heat shield, because maybe it would have been worse. I don't know if she can do anything with this over here. Can she no, see, those things are broken as well, so they're lost. So this one was used, so she can probably collect the data. Removal of experiment data will render this module inoperable. Restoring functionality will require a scientist. Okay, let's remove it. So at least we capture that. And there we are. The grass, I have to say, is pretty tall here, so it's definitely not a livable space right here, but the trees are gorgeous. Look at all of that. Beautiful trees and some flowers in the area. Not a bad place to be. So we're going to climb up, and then we are going to board again. And I think we got one last temperature to check here on the grassland surface. So temperature from Kerbin grasslands. I guess that's good, because the other one was, let's just review that one just to make sure while we're flying over. So we can get temperatures on the ground, and we can get temperatures when we landed. So we're going to recover whatever's left of this vehicle. Unfortunately, we didn't get as much science as we probably had wanted originally. But we are over 45, so at least we did achieve our goal, even though we didn't finish any of our missions. But we can quickly have a quick look if there's anything specific that we would like to bring with us. So what we can do is we can go for advanced rocketry, because we want to start orbiting. Now, I have never seen these parts before, so I don't know what these do. They're Starshot 32. They do what exactly? Jebediah Kerman eats danger for breakfast. We know that. Lunch and dinner. Yeah, that's true. At his day job at the KSC, the Kerbal Space Center, residence daredevil pilot. Okay, pilot. Okay, this is not going well, this reading. Okay. But what does he do when he wants to relax on the weekend? He fills firework canisters at his state-of-the-art junkyard facility. The Starshot 32 is a large firework launcher. And if it goes off in the wrong time, you may be looking for more than just a refund. Oh, okay, so now we got fireworks in this game. That's interesting. We like it. We like it. I almost clicked it straight away. But let's see what else is on offer. So we've got adapters. We can bring more crew. So in theory, we could bring in a scientist, right? I think we want to wait a little bit for that. I like this. We could just bring a flag. We could just put flags everywhere. That's cool. I'm I'm leaning towards maybe doing this because this will give us an opportunity to at least create little space planes that we can maybe fly around, thinking now that we can get the temperature from the different biomes and get more stuff. But for this particular one, I think the best thing that we can do in this scenario is just get more rockets, because we want to be able to go. Well, these are probably going to be too. Oh, we do have an adapter here, so that's good. And we got an engine here, Terrier. Okay, sounds good, because we want to orbit Kerbin, basically. So let's see if we can actually build it before we... Oh, there's debris everywhere. That's what I thought. We can collect them for a bit of space-os. So yes, we can. Let's collect some more space-os, shall we? And the broken parts over there. So that's good. So at least Kerbin's not full of trash. So let's see if we can actually build an orbiter just using this what is it? The VAB, the vehicle assembly building, without the actual let's call it the added expenses of upgrading it. And what we already know as well is that we probably, if we're going to use part of this spaceship, so we're going to get rid of this so that we have the right. Yeah, we've got everything that's right. So we're probably going to need some more parachutes to help us. With not losing science if we do make it back. So I'm thinking we can probably, this is a big parachute and I can't put another one. I don't want to ruin the flag because I do want to make sure, but I think the parachute should be at the top. I think that would make most sense. I just hope that this doesn't, oh my goodness, this is definitely not gonna, I mean, it's gonna stick. We use super glue to put this stuff on, but I think it makes more sense to put it down like this. It's more streamlined this way. And if you look at it, I know I should put it over the flag, but why would we do this? I mean, look how amazing this flag actually looks like. It's our space program. Come on. All right. We got fireworks now, so this thing is massive. This can cover the flag. If I'm honest to God, wait, like if we're gonna cover anything on the flag, it's definitely gonna be fireworks. But this looks a little bit big for us to take along on a journey for our eventual orbit. So let's not do that. So we're going to take this. Basically what we're going to do here is we are going to take a little bit of fuel, and I believe that the Terrier engine that I saw is a low thrust engine. So if we're actually in space, we're not going to need the power of like a booster to get around orbit. We just need a, just a soft little gentle push. And that's also going to make us a little bit light as well, which will allow us to have a bit more control when we are orbiting, do our science, and hopefully return and be safe on our return. For that as well, while I'm talking about science, let's just bring another one of these puppies with us. So we got 3 sciences of each, and I know we only have one of those particular ones, but we'll take this one into space, and because I think that will yield the most science. And we want to take an antenna just in case we find ourselves in trouble and we need to talk to mission control. So this is basically going to be our Orbiter 5. That's going to be the return module / the thing that's up in space. Now we need to get this thing up into space and into basically into space, because the rest is going to take us into orbit. Which means probably what I'm going to do here is this a massive? No, it's not. So we're going to need a decoupler. And we're going to create a very functional, I think, here. Look at this. It's like a race driving thing. I think we're going to take this fuel as like our second to last stage, which is going to have the swivel engine on it. I think it needs more, to be honest. I still need to figure out how the whole delta readings work, but I'm just playing it by feels right now. I'm gonna do this rocket. I think with those 3 that should get us quite far, because this is gonna be the second to last stage, and we're already gonna be up in the air because we now have these radial decouplers where we will be able to put some boosters on. And remember, we can't go over a certain weight either, so I am afraid that we might actually have to upgrade regardless, because we only have let's say about, what is that, 6.5 tons left. And I think that those boosters, they're probably a lot heavier than that. If we look at this one, it's 3, so we can only take 2 of those. we look at this one, it's already 7, it's too much. So let's just try it with these 2 hammers. We'll see if we can function with that, and I think that will also give us some good control as well. It'll have us at the limit, and honestly, so we'll do it like see, it's over. It's over by 0.6. So maybe if we take 1 less science, if we take 2 less science, no, it's not gonna work. Okay, and we do want to take the science, so we're gonna have to upgrade. So we're gonna save the ship for now, and we're gonna leave the VAB, and we are gonna upgrade our vehicle assembly building by paying 225,000 pesos. It's going to leave us with 56,000 pesos, which is great. But now we're going to have a much... Look at that space. It's so much bigger now all of a sudden. It's going to give us a lot more room to basically improve this thing. So we're going to go now with some more power, because why would we not go for more power? If we want to go into orbit, we want power. And then we think we want to go into which direction exactly. So we want to make sure that this is done in a strategical way. So we're going to put these ones over here, and then instead of using the hammer, which we've already tested on the runway, we're going to take the thumpers. They're a little bit bigger. Let me just see if they're attached properly when we look at the top. Yes. Now there once was a way where we have a move tool where I can move them down. There it is. There's the move tool. So this would be, yes, this is the, I think that's going to be too low. So what's going to happen is that as the fuel gets lower and lower and lower, it's going to get an imbalance basically. But we also don't want to have it where, you know, we're in a situation where we're like this, because then it's going to be weird at launch. So I think somewhere around the middle, but not too far in the middle, and we can actually check. There once was a way to check, what was it, like the... Where was that button? Not the rotate, there was like a... What button was that? Cargo, switch... I don't know, we'll figure that out at some point. Oh, I know already. The center of mass. So this is where we want the center of mass, which I think is in a good spot over here. And that's where boost, yeah. And that's, yeah, we want this to be always in front of that. Which is called the aerodynamic overlay, center of thrust, and the mass. Okay, so I think this is good. I think we're in a good spot here. I'll get rid of this because we're not really reading that anyways. And then we need to make this a little bit more aerodynamic, and I don't think that we have the options really for that. So let's have a quick look at aerodynamicity. So yeah, we do. We got some little nice nose cones. So we got some aerodynamics, which is good. This is how we're going to launch, and then we're going to go whoop, that way. Follow the mouse, we go whoop, that way. And obviously we're going to have to put some style onto this thing, because why would we not want to look cool when we're going to space, right? Like, think about those astronauts in the 1960s. I mean, all they were doing was, you know, driving sports cars and convertibles and just being cool, basically, you know? And that's what the Kerbinauts are as well. We're going to take a battery up, which is, I think, good, because we might be there for a while, and who knows, that might actually come into it might come in handy, who knows, who knows. Science, I think we got everything that we need. We're not going to take this particular... Well, we could. We could now. And then we can drop all of this and be even lighter when we're re-entering, which means we wouldn't need this parachute. I got an idea. Let's take this storage. I'm going to put this on the top. Then we're going to grab this. We're going to get rid of the old one. And then what we're going to do is that we're going to add a... No, not a fireworks. I really want to put fireworks there. We're going to put a heat shield. That's well, let's put this here. And then we go like this. Everything's going to get very messy right now. But this is going to be the way forward. So that there's a heat shield underneath that. And we're going to have this decouple off that. And then I know you can't see it, it's a little bit there in the corner, but I just need to double check that we've got the staging correct. So that's the last one before the parachute. And we've got this one. So I believe this goes here. Yes. This one decouples, then this one goes, this one goes, this one goes, this one goes. Okay, so I think we're in a good spot here. We're going to attempt orbit. And the way that we're going to do this is obviously the thumpers are going to take us up in the air. The wings are going to make us look cool. Then this middle stage here, which I'm going to just paint a different color so it's a bit clear in terms of what we're doing with that particular one. So this a kind of black stage is going to basically get us up into space as much as we possibly can and start making that curve around Kerbin. And then we've got the last spot here, the orange bit right there is going to basically do the final job for us and also bring us back home, which is great, really important. So this is going to be a massive milestone. This is going to be a big science experiment, and I think it's also the biggest risk that we've taken up to this point in this playthrough. And that means that we're going to take Jebediah again. Because Jebediah, why not? He's our hero, he's our legend, and if he's the first man in space, he must also be, or the first Kerbin in space, he must also be the first Kerbin to orbit Kerbin and tell us about this wonderful planet that we're living on. So, with that being said, for whatever reason, we're still too heavy. So, why is that? Ah, made a mistake. Okie dokie. So, let's save this, because I bought the wrong upgrade. The upgrade that I needed to buy was the launch pad, which requires 50,000 Spaceos, which luckily we just have. We're basically bankrupting our entire space station organization at this point. But it's going to be great, because when we come back from our mission, we are going to have a bunch of money. So just to double check, we're going to do some orbiting stuff, and I'm just going to, again, because I don't really have the information here, just going to quickly visit the mission control, I think the building's called. Yes. And we're going to look at our active missions. And it says here we just need to orbit, destination Kerbin, situation orbit. All right, so we just need to orbit, and that's basically going to get us back into some nice Spaceos territory. Meaning we can pay the salaries of our wonderful Kerbinauts in Spaceos. So we're ready to go. Let's launch. Let's get going. You cannot afford this spaceship. Oh my god. So how much money do I actually have? Oh no. Okay, so this is 19,000, and I only have about, what was it? Like 5,000 to go by. Which basically means we're gonna have to get a loan. That's one way to go about it. I know the administration building, I thought that we would probably never use this, but there's a bailout grant. But what does this do effectively? So it gives me a bunch of funds, which I think is, what is that? Oh, I can change the commitment here. So we need about 19,000, right, to launch this spaceship. So if we give about, we have about 6,000. So I think, just to be on the safe side, if we calculate this, I'm not good at math, so I just need to have a bit of a think about here. But basically what we need to do is we need to get 19,000 Spaceos so that we can get a bunch of money, Spaceos, so that we can effectively launch our spaceship, which will then give us more Spaceos, which will then allow us to continue our mission. So we need to think about, do we want to sell science, which I don't think we can because we've only got 9. And there is a bailout ground. So it says, we must be in dire straits to be considering such an option. Accepting a public grant could save us from bankruptcy, but it would also put a very serious dent in our space program reputation. However, the space program is too big to fail. So if it's either this, or the option is to close shop, I would advise to accept the money. So we're definitely going to accept the money, and we're going to be not too cautious on it. It's a lot of reputation points that so basically what we have here is we could go for something like 171 reputation points, which will give us enough money to launch our next ship, which I think we should do, or we can hire the commitment anyways. We're not going to do that. We're gonna, because if we complete the orbit, we'll get 66,000 Spaceos, and that will then yeah, we'll just need to work on building a reputation. So we're gonna take this. I sure want to activate the strategy. We'll apply immediately and reset. That's great. Yeah. It has a one-time effect. This strategy does not remain active, but can be accepted as many times as desired. So it's basically just a bailout. Yeah, we don't want to be doing that like too much. Well, I mean, we are delivering reputation points for that, so let's do it. We've got 20k spaces in the pocket, and I did see that. Let me just quickly go back because I think that their meter up here at the top shows. I mean, if I'm just hovering the mouse over, it shows kind of. I don't know. I'm gonna have to look up and what this is, but I did see that yellow bit move, and I don't believe that we want this to be in like a troubled situation where this turns red or something like that. I feel like I've seen that before, but I'm not 100% sure. But we're gonna launch into space. Just to double check, we've got Jebediah in our cockpit. That's great, and we should now be able to launch. Yes, we can, with an upgraded launch pad, an upgraded VAB, and a little bank loan. Just a little bank loan, just to go into space. I mean, that's how NASA basically did it, right? Like they just did that. All right, let's go into space. Let's make sure we've got our MechJab orbiter info open, because I think that's quite handy so that we can know what the apoapsis and periapsis is, because the last thing we want to do is have an apoapsis of 100,000 million and then never be able to orbit. So we are going to aim for about the 75 and 80. We're going to remain in low orbit, and we shall go. All right, the weather is clear. The flag in the distance is waving. There's nothing in the sky. We're clear. There's no planes, no birds. Sun's out there. There's the moon. We're coming for you. All right, let's get going. And we have liftoff. All right. Probably turn on the SAS. And we're just gonna go straight up for now because we don't really have much maneuverability control. I'm just tapping a little bit on that part, but we don't want to lose a lot of the stability very quickly. We basically just want to punch through the densest part of the atmosphere as quickly as we possibly can. Release those thumper rockets, which are doing an absolute tremendous job because we're already at 6,000 meters up in the sky and at a velocity of almost 700 already. So this is actually a really good launch, I believe. We're just going straight up, which we're going to have to change very quickly. So we're just going to let it slow down a little bit. Check our apoapsis. It's very good. We're going to release. We're going to release our thumpers. And then we're going to let them explode. Apparently we bring explosions in those thumpers. I thought it was empty. And then we're going to start to slowly bring the engine online. Because we're moving into a pretty nice area, and we're actually already going to make space. So I can see that the apoapsis is at 80k, but we're not at a very good inclination, I guess. I don't know how to say that exactly, but yeah, basically what we want to do is we want to start to fall from Kerbin. So we want to be at this speed where we're just always in a falling motion around a ball, basically on the outside. That's how we're going to achieve this orbit. And in order to do that, we're going to need some speed that goes sideways. This is why I'm currently now in sideways motion, so that we can actually create an orbit. And it's going to be a pretty standard, I think, strong orbit, to be honest, because I like the speed that we're going at. The apoapsis is not gaining as much as I had hoped. We want the periapsis to kind of be the same as the apoapsis, so we did go a little bit too much into one direction. Straight up, I would say, but I think we have just about enough fuel to make this happen, because now we're really going to just start accelerating our spaceship around Kerbin. So yeah, we're doing, I think, a decent job. It's still about 500,000 that we need to go, and the fuel's already almost empty, so it could be that we might not make it. But the speed is definitely increasing, and the periapsis is definitely getting a lot quicker. And it's a good thing that we also have this last bit as well, right? With the Terrier engine, that should take us all the way to the end. Just gonna point our nose down a little bit because I don't want the apoapsis to go up too high. And we're almost at orbit, I think. Just gonna cut the engine in a couple of minutes, and we are officially in orbit. Kind of. not the best orbit that you can think about if you got the apoapsis, which I said I wanted to kind of keep at around 80K. If you have a look on the map, our orbit is not very perfect. It's very low on this side. It's actually not in orbit just yet, but I cut the engine because I think what we need to do is we need to get our ship on this side so that we can get this circle kind of like in the same range. But I'm actually quite okay with this idea because I don't know what upper orbit and lower orbit is. I would assume that this is still a lower orbit around Kerbin. But this will give us some time to do some science and make sure that we do have a right orbit. So just gonna speed it up a tiny bit. Let's get to the dark side a little bit. It's getting a little bit creepy over here. And what we want to do is we want to make sure that our spaceship is pointing in the right direction, which I believe is still this one. We're not gonna turn off SAS just in case to check the battery life. The battery life's doing good, so we're not gonna have to worry about that. We got a smidget of fuel left, so let's just have a quick look on this angle again. And we're gonna speed our way to the periapsis, the apoapsis, which is, I think, around here, to be perfectly honest. And I was once able to put maneuver nodes. I cannot do it now, which will be interesting for later missions. And then we're gonna take a little bit of a speed boost on this side, and that will allow us to achieve orbit, which should complete our mission. So as you can see, our situation is not orbit just yet. It shouldn't matter too much if I'm pointing down. We're gonna keep look at this, and there we go. I just saw a tick in the corner of my eyes, and that means we have achieved actual orbit of Kerbin. So congratulations, Jebediah, for just being an amazing astronaut. He's just a legend. First Kerbin in space, first one to orbit Kerbin, first one to launch a ship, and he's still alive, and he's still doing well. I mean, we're not back at Kerbin yet, and we have kind of lost control of this ship. So let's just get that back a little bit. Let's turn on the SAS. Check out on the battery situation. Thankfully, there's a light there, which is doing fine. So let's do some science. Let's conduct a material study on the Science Junior and see what that will yield us. A bunch of science, 25 science. That's a lot. That's really, really good. We'll take that in. We're also going to take a little temperature check and see what kind of orbit that we're in. So it's a temperature scan in space near Kerbin. So we're still near Kerbin, so I'm assuming that's fine. We're going to take an atmospheric test as well, which is going to recover us nothing because we've already done that and we are in space. So it really shouldn't make a difference if it's in lower orbit or if it's out there in the stars. And then we'll take a crew report, which again, don't need to because we've already done that. And then we're just going to check if we can EVA Jebediah. We cannot, which means we have to upgrade Kerbin Astronaut Complex. Okay, that's fine. We don't have the money for that yet. Could take out a bank loan, but we're not going to do that. So we're going to collect all of the science in this particular module here, which gives us 4 different science. So 25, which is good, 0, which is bad, 0, which is terrible, and another 0, which is also terrible. So that's really not a great science haul at all. But we will get some science from actually achieving the orbit itself. And on top of that, we do have enough science with us, at least on this module, that this stuff is going to be lost in space, obviously. So we'll take a goo sample just to take a little bit of science, I guess, from there. We'll collect another one of those sciences. So what we'll do is we'll lose this section of the spacecraft, and then we'll touch down on Kerbin in another area where we can do an EVA, we can do some atmospherics test, and definitely temperature tests. So we just need to make sure that where we land is going to be somewhere we haven't been before, which is great because when we look at the size of that planet, we've only been at that tiny little place, which is basically our space center. So we're gonna return back to Earth by going retrograde, and as you can just see, the camera just swapped. And if we check our the periapsis right now is 4,700 kilometers, which means we're not going to touch ground yet. But because what's going to happen is, if we look here, our orbit trajectory is going to go this way. Is that we're going to come down here, And as we enter into surface, it's going to slow us down, slow us down, slow us down, slow us down even more. And so, in all likelihood, as much as I said that out, yeah, we'll probably land around here in the desert. Is my assumption here. There's a desert launch site here. That's cool. I didn't know that. That's our ship. What's this? Boomerang launch site. There are more launch sites on Kerbin. Are they competing or are they with us? Something to figure out a much later date. Okay. So, yeah, we know about this area over here. So what we don't want to do is we don't want to land in this area here, or actually in the water. So, yeah, let's see how that happens. And I just realized I made a mistake. Because our apoapsis is 200,000, which means we're going to come in at a massive and a massive speed, which could explode our Jebediah spaceship. And we don't want to do that. The good news is that I brought too much fuel with me, which means we've got a Terrier to kind of support our, kind of like use it as a brake. So we'll detach the main engine here and say goodbye. There we go. And then we'll be pointing on the retrograde side. And what we'll do is once we're starting to like kind of get closer to around, let's say the 80,000 kilometer height, when we're still not in the atmosphere, we're still in space, we'll initiate the Terrier engine just to create a little bit more of a braking power, which is gonna again make it a little bit steeper, our decline onto Kerbin. But you know, I'm hoping that that'll be good. And if not, then we'll just have to detach it and just, you know, hopefully that the heat shield will hold up and that Jebediah is going to be in a safe spot. So we are actually going to go back to our map side of things, and we're going to speed this up a tiny little bit. Just watch our spaceship sort of fall into Kerbin. Safely back into Kerbin. We're gonna go back to this mode here so that we can actually see what our height is and make sure that we stop on time and we don't particularly go too quick and fall into orbit and start to crash. But this is an absolute beautiful shader. If you look at this Kerbin with the sun sort of glistening on the planet, it is absolutely fantastic. I'm loving this pack, and the clouds, the water, everything looks fantastic in this game. It really is an upgrade. So yeah, so we're definitely coming close, and we're coming in at an absolute massive speed. So I'm actually going to start to increase our, we're going to launch this, and we're going to slow ourselves down a little bit, which means we might end up in the water. I'm going to cut out the engine. Let's see where we are on the map here. Yeah, we're probably going to end up in the water, which is a shame, because there isn't really much more science that we can do in the water, which means it's a low science yield mission. But we did orbit Kerbin, which is, I think, really important, and it's going to give us a bit of science to also hopefully progress. And if not, we'll just need to do some missions to get a little bit more extra money and obviously reputation, which has been damaged by our bailout, and ensure that we can fly to our next destination, which would probably, very likely, be the moon, which I cannot see from here. Is that the moon? Or is that the moon? Or is it on the other side of the of Kerbin? Probably on the other side of Kerbin. That mountain looks absolutely ginormous. But yeah, we'll probably go to the Mun and as our next major milestone. I think that's definitely what we should aim for. As we are coming down, I'm trying to just make sure that we're not coming down too steep. I'm okay with the speed for now. I think, you know, like, the more atmosphere that we take at the higher altitude, the more we're going to slow down, even though we are still speeding up. So I'm just gonna push a little bit more, just stay around the. And obviously, we're gonna be speeding. Yeah, we're gonna need to turn this on quickly because we're already overheating. We're at the very top of the atmosphere, so we really need to start jettisoning this fuel. Really just needing to slow down. Kind of aim probably for like the 1800, 1700 type speed meters per second, and then start to jettison jettison this thing. I mean, at least the angle is still pretty okay. Not too concerned about the inclination in which we're coming in, but we're still overheating. But I think we're going to be okay at this point, because we're now at 37,000, 35,000. Definitely not deployable to shoot her by any means, but we have emptied out our engine, and I don't believe that we're really in much of an overheating situation. So just going to double check that this is the right one that we're going to jettison, and then we're going to jettison this one. So let's jettison that. Jettison that. Whoa. Thankfully, they did not have explosions built into them, so see you later over there. Our heat shield is definitely going to do its work. And then we're going to be plummeting down in the ocean, and maybe that is probably the right thing to do at this moment in time, because we do have... I don't know how heavy this experiment storage unit is. I can only imagine that it's definitely has some weight. So that log some temperature. No, there's nothing there to be logged. Is there anything to be logged here? Yeah. Over water, so that's great. So we got some more temperature stuff flying over the water itself. So we're coming down in a pretty good speed. So it's just a question of making sure that our deploy is going to work. And unfortunately, we didn't reach the speeds that was kind of required. We needed to be a little bit slower to test the MK16 parachute. So yeah, we're coming in a little bit too fast, a little bit too heavy, a little bit too steep. As you can see here, we're coming in pretty damn steep. So I'm starting to get a little bit worried that we're not slowing down. So I'm going to start to deploy the parachute early. The color is yellow right now, so I do want to double check that everything's going to be okay. I think it should be. We're coming down. The parachute should deploy as soon as the air gets very thick. It's kind of how it's designed. Come on, deploy. You're making me a little bit scared. Okay. And deploy, and we're slowed down to pretty much, again, 6 meters per second. So the last time when we landed on the grasslands at this speed, it actually blew up, which is, again, no bueno. But now that we're gonna fall in the water, I think we're gonna be in a good spot. So I don't need to jettison the heat shield, since we do want to kind of save our space hose, because yeah, we lost a lot of space hose in this game up to this point. We had to get a bailout already on episode 2, which was not on the plan, but it is unfortunately what actually happened. So here we are in the water, safe and sound. Well done, Jebediah, for actually orbiting Kerbin. And I don't think there's any more science for us to really do in the water. I mean, we'll take an atmospheric temperature check. Oh, atmospheric scan from the water, so that's a little bit more science. Just for the fun of it, we'll just collect all of the data up here in the top. Yeah, we're not sinking, but we are definitely low in the water. And we're going to recover our vessel because we already did an EVA in the water. And then we're going to look at the science, see how much science we collected, look at our space hose balance check. Let's see what we're doing with the space hose. And then we'll see where we are going from there. So in terms of the space hose, we definitely improved a lot. We're in 100K, so I'm pretty happy about that, because the spaceship that brought us to orbit was about 19K, or 19,000 space hose, I should say. So that allows us to make like 5 of them. But that will also allow us, I think, also to go to do the next mission, which would probably go to the moon, which would require a much bigger spaceship, or at least create some sort of communication satellite relay up in Kerbin, so that we can actually go to the moon without losing control of our spaceships or our probes or anything that we plan to do. In terms of science, we got 65, which is fantastic. So yeah, we'll probably dive into that a little bit more on the next episode. So with that being said, thank you for watching episode 2. We'll see you in episode 3, where hopefully the idea is for us to kind of go to the moon. Thanks for watching.